Welcome to All Caps.
Woo! Woo! Yeah! Yeah!
It's a 60-point explosion. There's just points being scored. Kyrie Irving on the road. Has to be on the road, right? And definitely not in Toronto, but on the road against Orlando, he scored 60. Karl-Anthony Towns went for 60. Steph Curry went for 47 on his birthday with Draymond Green back in the lineup. But let's talk about Kyrie Irving, who can't play at home, but he can attend home games. Has been absolutely tearing it up. But let's watch it really quickly.
Irving on the move, looking for 50. Off the window! So do not want to miss hot stove, a lot to cover. Kyrie Irving back in the ball game, and he's still hot.
Kyrie was 8 of 12 from 3 from this game. It's pretty great. It'd be incredible if he could do this at home, but of course, because of the ongoing issues with Kyrie refusing to be vaccinated, which is his right, and I feel like we have to say this every single time, it's absolutely Kyrie's right to not get vaccinated, but that means he can't play at home, so congrats to him. He's absolutely crushing it, and this is why it's great for the Nets to not have home court advantage. So the Nets have enough to win it all without one of two of their huge stars, KD or Kyrie. But it would be tough, as evidenced by a Kyrie Irving-less Nets team beating the bedraggled New York Knicks by single digits and needing every single second of the game and every point scored by Kevin Durant in order for them to beat the New York Knicks. Now here is Kyrie Irving attending the game as just a regular citizen. Now the New York Times' Sopan Deb asked an interesting question, which I think underscores the thicket of confusing rules that exist because of New York City's emergency activities in order to try and stop the spread of the coronavirus. Here is Sopan Deb. One thing about Kyrie Irving, which continues to vex me, and I haven't been able to get an answer from New York City Hall on this, why is he allowed to practice at the Nets facility? Wouldn't the private sector mandate apply here? The previous mandate that allowed it was the practice facility was considered a private workplace. Okay, that makes sense, but then de Blasio put in the private sector mandate at the end of December, which should have applied here. Anybody have an answer to this? No. We don't exactly know why he is able to attend practices other than it makes it funnier that he can't play in games. Karl-Anthony Towns scored 60. Here he is, him talking about it.
32 points. How did you take over responsibility to put this team on your back in that frame? 32 in the third quarter.
Damn.
All right.
I'm happy for Karl-Anthony Towns and the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's been a very, very long road. They still have to wear these absolutely terrible lime green jerseys, but at least Karl-Anthony Towns is absolutely crushing it and getting appreciated for what a good player he is.
I was reading a stat that half of the 50-point games so far this season have happened in March. Is this just the time of the year where you're playing against like scrub teams like the Magic and beat up teams like Portland, and guys are just going to go for 60?
In March. It's interesting because like big things happen in March. Julius Caesar was killed in March. It's crazy if you think about it. Boston Massacre, March 5th, 1770. Oh, Cassius Clay becomes Muhammad Ali, March 6th. March 9th, 1562, kissing banned in Naples, Italy, punishable by death.
Yeah, Italians definitely didn't stop there.
U.S. buys Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million.
Is it Seward's Folly? Is that what it's referred to
Yeah,
as?
Russia even then was a broke.
That's like a G League contract.
Let's go to the meme. Here's the great Nick Wright. I like Nick Wright. Do I agree with all of Nick Wright's takes? No, because that's the business we are in. I feel like Hyman Roth explaining to Michael how the mafia works. In the takes, Michael, people are going to disagree with your takes, Michael. And he does that little cough where he's like dying. He's like letting you know that he's dying. Lee Strasberg, the great Lee Strasberg, putting on a clinic of teaching. Anyway, in the take game, here's how it works. You give your takes, and some of them are going to be wrong later. And in the moment, a lot of people are going to disagree with you, I have to say. Here's Nick Wright saying that Jayson Tatum is, at best, the 18th best player in the NBA. Michael Malloy already triggered.
Furious.
So here at LeBron James. I think we can all agree LeBron is better than Jayson Tatum.
I'll give you that one.
Giannis, better than Jayson Tatum.
Yes.
Thank you for begrudgingly
I'm willing to
admitting
be
that he's
reasonable about this. It's just half of those
Kevin
names
Durant.
don't belong there.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Luka.
Yes.
Okay. Jokic.
Yes.
Embiid.
Yeah.
Steph.
Yes.
Kawhi.
He hasn't played in 2 years.
Okay, but when he comes back, he'll be better than Tatum, right?
Maybe, or maybe he'll get injured again immediately.
Okay, but anything could happen. Maybe
what's happened the last 2 years.
Okay, well, let's just pencil in Kawhi, a Finals MVP, is better than Tatum right now, and with a caveat that maybe he comes back and his legs don't work. I think Tatum is better than Davis.
Yes, I agree.
Anthony Davis should technically be the best player in the NBA, given his skill set.
Yeah.
But it never comes to fruition.
Like in school, when I would get my report card and the teacher would be like, has potential but needs to work harder. As long as like people knew that I could be better, that was enough for me. Like actually doing the work to be better, that's too much. But as long as people know that like if I applied myself, I could be great, that's where I think AD is at. I think AD likes knowing that people know that he could be the best player in the NBA, but like he's not really about that. Tatum is better than Dame.
Yeah, I think so.
Tatum's better than Dame. The time is up. The time is over. James Harden.
Harden's better,
Okay.
but not by much.
Spider Mitchell.
Tatum's better than Spider.
I think Tatum is better than Mitchell too, although I like Mitchell a lot. But I do think Tatum is better than Mitchell, more efficient than Mitchell, and yada, yada, yada. Booker.
Point book, baby.
I think Tatum's better than Booker.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think Booker has become less of a get my shots guy and more of a, like, I know how to integrate myself into a team guy. I think that is the next step for Tatum is like, and he's kind of been doing it over the last few weeks, but like Booker has been doing it for longer. So I'm going to give the edge to Booker if that's okay.
That's fair.
Ja Morant is better than Jayson Tatum right now.
I disagree. I'm sorry. All right, I disagree. I'd rather have Tatum.
Well, congratulations, you do have him. Chris Paul. Now, here's an interesting thing because I think you can make a case because of age and because of injury stuff, etc.
Yeah, if this is who would you rather have for the next 5 years, obviously that's
right.
Tatum.
Like if it's like this, CP3 is coming like this and Tatum is going like this, but it is like this right now. Paul George. Now,
I think Tatum's better.
I don't disagree, though I will say that PG like has a ceiling that we've seen him go to for like 10, 12, even 20 games at a stretch where like PG is as good as anybody. Like legitimately as good as anybody in the league.
5 minutes of Paul George's best basketball, you'd think he's a top 5 player. However, he has to play 30 other minutes where he's not.
I'll give you that Tatum is more consistent, so let's give Tatum the edge here. Butler, Tatum is better than Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so much better.
So I think that all we have to say about this is that these are takes. He got it like 85% right. Also, like Nick Wright looks just like Tom Green, like at the height of Tom Green's fame. It's not just the Nets that are getting singed by the scoring prowess of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. It's also the butt cheeks of New York City Mayor Eric Adams getting singed by the comments of Kevin Durant and others who are attempting and have been attempting to bully the mayor of New York into allowing Kyrie Irving to play in games. To help us understand what the situation is with the current vaccine mandates in New York City vis-a-vis Kyrie Irving, and whether this pressure tactic on New York City Mayor, the wild guy himself, Eric Adams, will actually bear fruit, is the great Kristian Winfield, New York Daily News reporter, our good friend. Kristian, how are you?
Man, I feel like last time I was on the pod with you, I told you that I wish I studied political science a little bit stronger in college. Now I'm glad I avoided it altogether because my mind is mush trying to just make sense of everything.
We've talked about a little bit before about why this loophole happened. It happened because like these were rules that were enacted to the best of everyone's ability in emergency circumstances, and the fact that they don't logically always line up is just like a fact of how these rules were enacted. That said, Kyrie Irving walking to the front row seat at the Barclays during Knicks-Nets was clearly a stunt aimed directly at pressuring New York City lawmakers and New York City Mayor Eric Adams in particular. After the game, Kevin Durant said,
"It's ridiculous. There's a few people in our arena that's unvaxxed, right? Like at this point now, somebody's trying to make a statement or a point to flex their authority. But, you know, everybody out here looking for attention, and that's what I feel like the mayor wants right now, some attention, you know."
clearly an attempt by Kyrie and KD to just basically embarrass Eric Adams, right? Into signing some sort of exemption just for Kyrie Irving. Is that the way people see it?
Yeah, pretty much, because he's the only basketball player that's really hurt by this rule. Now we've got external forces here, right? Because now we're talking about the Yankees. We're talking about the Mets now, right? We've got pressure coming in from MLB players, which becomes very interesting now, right?
Right.
You're not going to take these basketball stars seriously, but Aaron Judge comes up and says he's going to sit out. And now, hold on. We're not talking about guys getting vaccinated. Eric Adams says, hey, baseball season is not tomorrow. It's not next week. We're going to work this out. That's a direct quote. That's a lot different from someone saying, Kyrie, let him play, and Eric Adams saying Kyrie can play if he goes to get vaccinated.
Let me ask you this. Like, if I'm Eric Adams, there is a wave of appalling attacks against Asian citizens of New York City.
Sure.
Ongoing issues with evictions and other fallout due to COVID-19.
Sure.
You had a minor but not insignificant portion of city employees who refused to get vaccinated and adhere to the mandates, who were then kicked out of their jobs.
Yeah.
So what would it say then to give Kyrie or Judge or anybody an exemption when the city had to lay off low thousands, but still like in the thousands of city employees who refused to get vaccinated? What does it then say to them that this is the state of affairs?
It'd be a slap in the face to those people, right? 100% agree with you there. But if that's the messaging, then you can't come out and say Kyrie Irving stepping on the floor is a public health crisis, right? You can't come in and tell me that all these people who are unvaccinated can come into Barclays Center and all these unvaccinated opposing players can come to Barclays Center and play. But if Kyrie steps on the floor, even though he's 2 feet away from the court when he's sitting there, that's a public health crisis. I don't know.
It's just like weird to me that like the framing is this should be a priority for Eric Adams.
And I agree with you on that, right? Because it feels like a couple months ago the city was shut down, right? Where you couldn't even go outside if you didn't have 2 masks on and you weren't just going into the store to get groceries and come back. So on that level, I understand it. And then it's just the optics of it. If you capitulate to baseball players after taking this hardline stance against one basketball player.
Now, a lot of Nets fans are like, well, he's a fucking Knicks fan. Do you sense that at all? Like, that is ridiculous to me, but like, let's unpack it. Is this because Eric Adams is a Knicks fan?
Oh man, I can't. I mean, sure, yes, he is a Knicks fan, but imagine being a Knicks fan and finally using your position of authority despite the Nets. I mean, nah.
Kristian, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. Anytime.
If you watch this show and you don't know this by now, then there's something wrong with you. It's Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em game, and it's the easiest and most fun way to spice up your NBA season. Just pick a over or under on your favorite or least favorite player stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile app. Pick between 2 and 5 players, and you can take home some cold, hard cash. Just use code ALLCAPS and get your first deposit doubled by Underdog. Sign up and play today. Let's go to the scroll. Let's talk about Kevin Garnett. Here is Kevin Garnett with Ray Allen for Kevin Garnett's jersey retirement ceremony. Now, Ray Allen being there is important because famously, Ray Allen was beefing with the Big 3 plus Rondo, and so for him to be there, it's a big deal. Let's watch a little bit of this jersey retirement ceremony.
Celtics fans, please welcome 6'11" from Farragut Academy, number 5, KG Kevin Garnett.
What year did Kevin Garnett stop aging? Was it like 2005, 6? He legitimately looks the same as he ever has looked. It's weird because you're like, wait, why can't he play? Like, because he looks exactly the same. This is why Uncut Gems worked, because like Kevin Garnett was like legitimately had been retired and kind of washed up, but looked exactly like he always did. And so like Uncut Gems 100% worked because it's like you look at him and you're like, oh, I believe that this is a guy currently in the NBA, like playing at a high level and dominating the Knicks. Other Celtics greats that were there, including There Are No Fours legend Antoine Walker, seen here. Big Baby Davis, dwarfed by Antoine Walker, should be said. Oh, is that Eddie House?
Yeah, that's Eddie House.
Eddie House? Whoa!
Arizona. ASU
Suns
legend.
legend, Celtics legend, Eddie House.
ASU legend.
So the Thunder played the Grizzlies recently, and they had to delay the game because both teams wore white.
We have an issue. Both teams are wearing white.
Just fucking let it happen. Let's see it. Who gives a shit, guys? Can we just do it for the vibes and for the history and just for the spectacle? Like, let's just. I want to see what would have happened.
But like, why would the away team even pack their whites unless the home team was like, hey, we're not wearing
Right.
our
There's
whites.
clearly there was a miscommunication, because why does the equipment manager even lay these out unless somebody told them? But let's see what happens.
Partner, I've been around the NBA now for 25 years, and I don't think I've ever seen both teams come out with their home uniforms on.
Well, how did it get to the point too where they were about to tip off? Like, when everybody's out there for warm-ups, how did no one notice it at that time?
I think not only should they let them play with both the white jerseys, like, if you act like you're on the other dude's team and make somebody pass it to you, it's a technical.
I like it. Myles Turner loves Legos. Myles Turner has been great on social media of late. He's shown off his masturbation lotion. He has kicked it to beautiful women right on the timeline, right up on main. And here he is on TikTok showing off his collection of the really cool Lego sets.
This is my lady Amy, little Susie, Brianna. You know why we call her Brianna,
He's
right?
a fucking weirdo. Sorry.
Why is this weird? This is awesome.
Shaniqua.
Fucking
Helga,
Death Star Lego.
Miss Kitty,
He's got the bigger. He's
I
got the
dream
2
of,
Millennium Falcons. He's got the smaller Millennium Falcon, and then
This
the
is Teresa right
7,500 piece Millennium
Teresa,
Falcon.
is that
And
true?
here is a Star Destroyer,
Dirty girl.
Imperial Star Destroyer.
This spot is for my special lady, Leah. I'm gonna say that one more time. Leah. Oh yeah.
See, now this is classic nice guy strategy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't get women. They ignore me because I'm so nerdy and quirky. I'm a millionaire 7-footer that plays in the NBA. I play with Legos. This is so weird. This guy's cleaning up. This guy's fucking cleaning. This guy is cleaning up. But it's a good bit. I recognize the bit and I appreciate it. But that's what the bit is.